welcome you all. Myself Dr. B. Randini, Assistant Professor of Commerce Self-Finance. In this video, I am going to explain how to determine the residential status of a Hindu undivided family and a company. Let's see, directly going on to the determination of residential status. What is residential status? The tax incidence on an assessee depends on his residential status. The residential status of an assessee is determined with reference to his residence in India during the previous year. Let's see what are the types of residence. The individual or a company or whoever may be the type of assessee, their residential status is basically classified into two, that is resident and non-resident. The resident person may be resident and ordinarily resident or resident but not ordinarily resident. A resident HUF can be a resident only if the control and the management of its affairs is situated in India. That is, the business run by the Hindu undivided family is wholly controlled and management of its affairs is situated in India. Then only the HUF will become the resident HUF. If the Hindu undivided family's business control and the management of its affairs is not situated in India means, then the HUF will become a non-resident. When the control and management of the Hindu undivided family is in India, then that HUF is a resident, and the resident HUF may be resident and ordinarily resident or resident but not ordinarily resident. In order to become the HUF become resident and ordinarily resident, the Karta should satisfy the additional conditions which are given in the Income Tax Act. When the company does not satisfy the additional conditions by the Karta, then the Hindu undivided family is a resident but not ordinarily resident for that particular assessment year. Let's see what are the additional conditions that can be satisfied by the Hindu undivided family when they are becoming a resident and ordinarily resident or resident but not ordinarily resident. These two conditions are given in the Income Tax Act. The first additional condition is the Karta must be resident in India during 2 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding to the relevant previous year, and he has been in India for a period of 730 days or more during the previous year immediately preceding to the relevant previous year. That is, in brief, if the Hindu undivided family will become a resident or a non-resident, the resident HUF, in order to become the HUF, become a resident HUF, the control and management of the business is in India. Otherwise, the Hindu undivided family is treated as a non-resident HUF. If the HUF is resident, then they will become either resident and ordinarily resident or a resident but not ordinarily resident. In order to determine this one, the Karta should satisfy the additional conditions which is given in the Income Tax Act. I have given the one problem. For example, head office of XY, a Hindu undivided family, is situated in Hong Kong. The family is managed by Y, who is resident in India only in one previous year out of 10 previous years preceding the relevant previous year 2024 and 2025. And his stay during these 7 years was 720 days. determine the residential status of the family for the assessment year 2025-26 if the affairs of the business are wholly controlled from Hong Kong and partly controlled from India. Right. So here in this problem, a Hindu undivided family and their business is situated in Hong Kong and the family is managed by the Karta Y, who is a resident in India. And during the previous year, the Karta is resident for 1 year out of 10 previous years and he is in India only for a period of 720 days during 7 years immediately preceding to the relevant previous year. Right. So, in this problem, they are asked to determine the residential status of the Hindu undivided family for this two situations. The first situation given is the management and affairs of the business is fully controlled from Hong Kong. So, Hong Kong is one of the country which is situated outside India. So, in this problem, in the first option, they are given the control and management of the businesses entirely from Hong Kong. The Hong Kong is outside the India. So, the HUF did not satisfy the condition, that is the control and management of the businesses in India. Hence, for the first situation, the HUF is a non-resident HUF for the assessment year. And the second situation, they are given for the same situation, the control and management of the Hindu undivided family is partly controlled from India. So, partly controlled from India means part of the control and management is from India and part of its affairs is controlled from Hong Kong. So, if the control and management of the business of the HUF either partly or wholly in India means, then the HUF will become a resident HUF. In this situation, the Hindu undivided family is a resident HUF. Then we will pass on to the either the HUF is a resident and ordinarily resident or resident but not ordinarily resident. For that, we should go through the additional condition, whether the Karta should satisfy the two additional conditions. The two additional conditions are the Karta must be a resident in India during 2 out of 10 previous years and he must be in India for a period of 730 days during 7 years immediately preceding to the relevant previous year. Here in this problem, they are clearly given the Karta is a resident of 1 year during 10 years out of 10 years and he is in India only for a period of 720 days out of 7 years immediately preceding to the relevant previous year. So, the Karta should not satisfy the two additional conditions. Hence, the Hindu undivided family will become the resident and ordinarily resident for the relevant assessment year, that is for the assessment year 2025-26. Next, we are going to see about how to determine the residential status of a company. Like an individual and the Hindu undivided family, the resident of the company can be resident and non-resident. If the company can become a resident, then the company has to satisfy the two conditions, that is, it is an Indian company and its place of effective management in that years is in India. That means the company must be an Indian company and the place of the management of the company is also in India. Then only the company can become a resident company. Otherwise, the company will become a non-resident. In case of the residential status of a company is never not ordinarily resident. That means the company may be either a resident company or a non-resident company. In order to become a resident company, the company should be an Indian company and the effective management of the business is also in India. Then only the company will become a resident company, and the company is not satisfy the two conditions, that is not an Indian company and the place of effective management of the company is not in India, means then the company will become a non-resident company for the particular relevant assessment year. And a company is never not an ordinarily resident. That is, a company can become only a resident or a non-resident. It can never become a not ordinarily resident. Thank you.